Hi there. We're here at the offices of Crisis Care Training International in Fort Mill, South Carolina, and we're sitting here with our founder, Dr. Phyllis Kilborn. She's the one who wrote the curriculum module that you will be taking over the next few weeks. And we thought you'd like to hear from her. There's a real wonderful story behind how all of these things came to be. And I'm going to ask Dr. Kilborn to give you some information about how you started working with children in crisis, Phyllis.
Okay, first I would like to welcome each of you to the class. I'm grateful that you are taking the course. I feel it will help you in many areas of your ministry and your training. I was a missionary in Liberia for 25 years, and the last 5 years was a time of intense warfare in the country. I was working with the tribe that the government was trying to totally annihilate, the Gio tribe. We had a lot of tragedies happening, especially with the children. I had never seen children in crises before that time, but they were taking children as young as 5 to shoot and kill in the army. They would give them drugs in the daytime to be brave to fight, alcohol at night so they could forget what they had done. And I knew that the church needed to have a response for these children. My original thought was to have rainbows of hope for Liberia, but the Lord gradually expanded that vision more and more as He gave me opportunity to either teach, work with, research children in crises in about 50 countries. And I realized that this was a task the church really needed to undertake. And so I first founded Rainbows of Hope, which reached out in projects to children in crises, street children, children of war, all the different categories and groupings of children. And then the Lord expanded the vision to say it's going to be for all children. And so from that time, the Lord just step by step has guided me in preparing training materials from what I've observed, what I've heard, different ones asking for help, different caregivers. The Lord has enabled me to write many materials to reach out to the children.
Well, Phyllis, there's such a compelling story behind the trauma and crisis care module that you'll be taking over the next weeks. And my name is Rosemary Sabatino. I'm the director of crisis care training at this point. But we're just excited that we see so many people around the world that have taken the course that you're taking, and God puts them in places where they really, really need to use it, and we can use it right here in the USA. Phyllis, it's amazing how this module has gone from the caregiver on the ground to people who are in education, working with students, to caregivers around the world. It's also being taught in many universities like CIU and APNTS in the Philippines. And it's been relevant for psychologists, for social workers, for practitioners. And so there's really such a broad reach of people who are using this material to bring healing and hope to children that are hurting. How did you come about writing this module? You didn't have a degree in psychology, did you?
No, I didn't, but I realized more and more that observation was a real key. If you could just look and listen to the children's stories, you could gather what was going on in their own hearts. And part of my PhD program, the dissertation was focused on children in crises. And that was one area that the Lord really opened my eyes to see the need for training, that workers needed to be trained. It was good to have the projects, but there was so much training. And the reason it's so universally used is that it is based on the fact that all trauma causes loss in the children's life, and intervention requires restoration of those losses. And then how the trauma impacts children. All of those things that I was able to see and to observe, the Lord just gave me the truths and how to respond.
Yeah, and it's really life-changing, the course that you're going to be engaged in. And Phyllis, it's so wonderful that we pick a child. We have three case studies in the module, and everyone picks a child to work with as a case study through the whole class, through the whole course. How did that come about? How did you decide to put that into the module?
Well, application, of course, is the most important thing being taught, is that you're able to apply these truths. And there was no way for students to go out and to actually work with these children. So I picked out stories of children that I knew and that I had worked with to be examples for the students.
So then the children that they'll be reading the case studies on, they're children that you either knew personally or that you had visited or heard about. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Junior, for example, the child of war, he was my Sunday school student and had a real love for the Lord, but was totally brainwashed by the soldiers after he was captured and was taken into the army. And of course he was put on drugs and alcohol and the whole lot, just like any street child.
We're excited that you're going to be taking this course, and the number of students that will be over the next even year as they repeat it, not only here at CCTI but also at CIU, Columbia International University. But Phyllis, do you have some words of encouragement to those who are taking the course? It can be very, I won't say grueling, but it is something that has to be, we have to really participate in. So do you have any encouragement for those who will be taking this course?
Well, I think I would like to encourage you by saying that God will enable you to fulfill this. And one of the reasons is that this is a burden on the Lord's heart. He has a great love for widows, orphans, those that are marginalized, dispossessed. This is his heart. And as we read the scriptures and see all the different situations where Christ was involved with those in crises, I think it will encourage us to know that with this being what is on God's heart, to have compassionate ministries, that he will enable and equip you. Because no matter what your situation is, what your position will be, whether it's in education, social work, the church ministries, you will meet children in crises, and you want to be equipped to be able to respond as Christ would.
Thank you, Phyllis. It's been a privilege and an honor to work here with Phyllis and to see the changed lives of children once these principles are put into practice. And our prayer and hope is that that you will use this in every area that you engage children, whether it's in the church, in your family, or on the mission field. So God bless you. We'll be checking up to see how all of you are doing in the course. God bless.